Hi everyone, welcome to February 5th. This is your stock market recap. So let's get started. Before we do that, this video is for information purposes only. Please do your own due diligence before investing. Okay, so from the worst sectors to the best sectors, the worst sector, TAN, again solar, with the rates moving higher and TLT selling off. We had a down move in TAN and then it tried to break this, but we had a kick save today with some hammer candles coming through. TLT also, if we look at the culprit, is also at an area where it has previously found buyers. So we have to see if it does again this time or it breaks through this channel and goes below. Breaking through the channel and going below means that there is more pain to come for stocks. So it could also be a temp bounce here with these, it's been a very fast down move. 4 days up, 2 days down, all the way back. So we could see a kind of interim push up and then a breakdown in TLT. Remains to be seen. All we know so far, it is at some support levels at this point in time. So yeah, in some sectors like TAN, XLU, IWM respond very strongly to rates. So those could be affected much more. And also growth stocks don't like rates going up. XME, metals and mining today, doesn't have a really good look here. So it was consolidating here, but seems to have kind of broken down and closed below the moving averages here, which were strong support. And yeah, nothing more to be said. Let's just take a look at the weekly. You can see we were trying to get back to that 5 week, and the 5 week kept rejecting. And today there was that confirmation of the move lower in XME. Although we still are in an area where it's just been kind of consolidating for a long period of time. This is all the way since May 2021. So we can say that we're back into the consolidation for now, and remain in consolidation until we can break out of here. Now, would you go ahead and short this? I would say no, because we are in still a long-term demand zone. So even if we do get a breakdown, at any point these buyers can come back and pick it up. So it wouldn't be a very easy short to do, and it's definitely not an easy long at this point. So not a sector of interest currently. TLT we already talked about, fell off the cliff 2 days ago, and that's what's causing a bit of sell off in some of the stocks in some of these areas that we talked about. All right, and here in XLB we have a big kind of rejection here on the weekly, with the 5 week rejecting it and then 20 week supporting it. So this is materials. So this was XME, metals and mining, and this is materials also coming through with a larger sell-off. Now, where are we at here on the weekly? You could say we're back into this long-term consolidation area, and we remain stuck in that. There are moving averages underneath to support that move, but we are not breaking out at this point. So we can just leave this out, not a sector of interest at this point in time. We saw a lot of these developing before, but seems to be like just false breakouts or just not rejected breakouts so far. XLY. So XLY was interesting. If we look on the daily, you can see it tried to pick up here from the 5 day and the 20 day, but that move was rejected. But what's there to note is that 5 day and the 20 day was still held and not broken below or closed below. So it could be a check back and a move up here in XLY. So you got to be kind of just open-minded about what XLY is doing. And you can see the other thing, that it is supported by that 5 week. So not a horrible look on XLY, and it did get buyers even before this demand area that we had we had shown. So there might be buyers that are willing to pay a little bit of a higher price to get in to XLY. At least that's what it's is showing currently, and rejecting those breakdowns and kind of holding those moving averages. So a decent look on XLY. We'll keep it in yellow because it's definitely not a great look, but not a bad look also. IYR, we drew this channel and seems to have broken below and trying to close below that channel. So this loses that yellow flag here, and until it can retake the bottom side of this channel and show that this is some sort of a bull flag that could move higher. We are on a daily right now, so a close below is definitely not a great sign, but it could be a false close and a move up, or if this is a breakdown, this could actually just be a lead to a further breakdown. And let's just see on the weekly, we did lose that 200 week, which is supposed to be strong support, and you can see how that 5 week is just acting as resistance. So yeah, we'll see how this week develops. Is it able to take and close into this channel again or not? But so far, not a place of interest for us. Let's take a look. KRE. KRE is interesting. It did have a breakdown when Powell spoke. It tried to put this kind of base here and move up, but it was rejected by that 200 week. So there's still some sellers sitting around in KRE that didn't let it move higher. We could put a alert here for a move above that 200 week. That is sitting at about 52.5. You can see how that 200 week has been acting as resistance so far. That has been resistance since mid-December of last year. All right, so yeah, not a point of interest for now. IYZ, telecommunications, having a big breakdown, looks like to be rate sensitive as well. This has lost the 5 and the 20 day. So, and also losing that 5 week that was supporting it so well so far, but we'll wait for the weekly closure to confirm. But so far, I would say this goes into the red category until it can resolve itself higher. ITB is interesting for me. I thought with that DHI earnings and this false break higher and then a breakdown, it would more likely than not break down. And it is also a rate sensitive sector, but so far it's holding in. There are a few earnings that are coming through in this sector, might be holding for that, or might just be consolidating further, but not not in red or green. So just not an area of interest. It is just sideways for now. XRT is a retail. This is not looking as bad. So it is being supported by that 200 day. And it is sorry, this is I think the 50 day. Sorry, yeah. So this is the 50 day supporting it, and the 20 day and the 10 day kind of curling here. So just showing some consolidation, but not a complete breakdown here. Also holding that 5 week. So it is still a decent area. Looks not too bad here. XLU looks very different. This is the weekly chart. It did get rejected at this huge sell resistance that we had highlighted, and it is moving lower, resolving lower. Also a rate sensitive sector, so it is marked in red. IJT is small cap growth, and so that, let's look at the daily. So daily supported by that 50 day, although it is a little bit weaker as compared to XRT, but still sort of holding in there and consolidating sideways, so marked in yellow. XLC, it's communication sectors. Not a bad look here in XLC, or a little bit extended on the weekly and the daily, but it almost looks like an island reversal here, higher. So this could be marked in yellow with the market breaking down a bit with the rates moving higher. This is still holding above that 5 day. IWM was interesting today. It tried to break below that 200 day, I believe. Let's just confirm. Sorry, the 50 day. 200 days down here. So 50 day tried to break below and held so far. clean up the chart a bit, and you can see how it is just holding on there. So it needs to put in some buyers need to come in here and push it up to support this. So it's definitely not, I would say, a great sector currently, but it is also not looking too bad, although it is below that 5-week, and it is in this kind of channel that it has been stuck in for a while. So I wouldn't mark it in red or yellow or green, just not an area of interest until things develop. IWC is microcaps. This is just moving sideways here. Yeah, just you can see how the moving averages are curling in with the sideways move. It is not a complete breakdown here, so that still is not a horrible look here. It needs to get above that 200-week, and then we can start getting interested. Still marked in yellow because I like the tight consolidation here going on. Same with MDY. I like the tight consolidation and almost like a flag that's developing here, with price discovery happening at different levels, but it is holding where it needs to, and finding buyers even above that 50-day, which shows there are some buyers that are eager to get into mid caps. You know, the reason why it is marked in green is because of this. Let me mark that for you. This inverse head and shoulders, and it is holding where it needs to for the right shoulder. That is why it's just kind of a speculative type of pattern here, but it is holding that and confirming that it wants to develop that right shoulder. A breakdown of the 50-day here, somewhere sitting around 494, would then start making us think otherwise about MDY. RSP, we'll get to S&P in a bit. XLF. So XLF is interesting. It's kind of gotten below the 5-day here. Tried to close above. It did close above on Friday, but today again missing that 5-day. So just an area to start getting a little bit cautious here in XLF, although it is in kind of a area of resistance, and it is, you can see that it is just having a hard time moving up in this area. We need to get above this resistance here and close above 40 for them continuing the move higher. The reason why it's still in green is because it is still above that 5-week here. XLI is interesting. It is one of the stronger sectors. You can see it holding that 5-week really nicely. It is reaching some weekly resistance at the 116 mark with this top of this channel here. So just kind of a place to be cautious, and if we can move above and start using this as support, that would be a really good thing for industrial stocks. Yeah, XLI still in green. XLP also not a bad look. Consumer staples, it is holding above that. Can be marked in yellow here. It is in that resistance area, which is why it's not marked in green, but not a bad look. It is kind of chugging along and chugging higher here. XLP. IYT, also a similar look as XLI has, and it is holding above that. So transports also not a bad look. It could be moved to a green with the market selling off today. This is holding where it needs to. IYT not bad. SPX we have also not too bad here. This should be moved to green, actually, just technically speaking. I am a little biased here where I just intuitively feel it is a little extended, but price is not telling me so far. And we are above this kind of base in the breakout here, 4,800, and we are holding above that and hugging that 5-day and moving above. So no reason to say that that shouldn't be in green. Today we had a check back of the 49.18, which is the 5-day moving average, and we held it. So showing some strength on that. We are having some approaching some resistance above on the weekly. Let's just see. S&P. Oh, okay. I'll make this channel in SPX as well, but it is depicted in S&P so far with this weekly channel. 498, 499 could be kind of top of channel where it has found strong selling before. And one thing to note is that February is a weaker month seasonally, so that could play into some of these QQQ and S&P, for example, reaching these weekly resistance areas could see some selling off because of that as well. Medical devices, a green above that 5 week, looking really good and holding that. It needs to break above this previous resistance where it found huge selling pressure about the 57 mark to continue that bullish momentum. XLK again, we had marked in red because it lost that 5 day and looked like it was break down and close some of these gaps. But now that it has regained momentum and closing today and holding that 5 day, even with the day TLT breaking down, that is back into this green territory. Would I buy it right now? I'm just not too sure about XLK. Just have some biases against it, so not my preferred area, but price is not telling you so. So price is confirming above 5 day on the weekly, above the 5 week, and not even, I can't even say extended anymore because we had that check back. Could move into a sideways type area, a sideways type consolidation. It could have closed these gaps below, but it didn't, chose not to. So the only thing that would be working against it is just seasonality for now. And S&P QQQ approaching some weekly resistances could also push this down. Tech sector. XLE was trying to put in this, but so far looking like a lower high. So I wouldn't say it's an area of interest anymore unless we can get above that 85 and then this lower high is negated and we can move higher. But so far with this move just seems like further weakness coming through. USD CAD closing where previously it has found some resistance. It is approaching this kind of downward resistance area. So could find some resistance here at the 1.356 mark. So just kind of keep an eye on that. UUP had a gap up today with TLT breaking down as well. So it's all in all could have been a much worse day than it was, but SPX and QQQ held where they were supposed to. XLV still looking like the breakout is intact, and ever since we had this false breakdown here, it is trying to resolve higher and move higher, with supported by that 5 day, so still in green. XBI no longer, I would say it's so. Let me kind of go step by step here. I thought this was going to be a breakdown, but so far it looks like it's flagging, and it is flagging under that AVWAP here, and a close above that would confirm that this is a flag and break. So I'm no longer feeling bearish on this anymore. It just feels like it got the resistance here at the 90 something 93 mark, got the best of it, pushed it lower, and now it's just gaining some strength, finding some buyers, allowing buyers and sellers to fight out price. And if the market supports these more risky areas, which would happen if the bull market kind of expands into some of these areas other than just large caps, mega caps, these riskier areas, if they're rewarded, then this could resolve higher and move into this resistance and contest with that again. Strongest sector again with being SMH. It is again gotten extended from that 5 day, and on the weekly also looking extended. You can see the gappiness here. It just looks like an exhaustion move to me, to be honest. It's just all these gaps, the way it moves up, it just looks like a lot of FOMO driving these moves. And you can see how stocks like Nvidia and NSMCI are moving. Coming to that, let me just kind of go over that, as that is important as well. Nvidia, we had talked about, so this is a weekly resistance, and we can see how it is in that above that weekly where it has this long-term kind of trend line where it has found long-term selling pressure before. You'll say, oh look, price is above that, but we haven't closed the week yet. So it'd be interesting to see how that week closes, to see if price can maintain that and close above on the week. At that point, you could start looking at maybe possible island reversals or other ways. It always doesn't have to reverse the same way that it did before. It can also keep hugging like it has in QQQ and moving, just grinding up for a bit before finding some pressure, selling pressure. But this is an area to be cautious. It's no longer going all in and FOMOing into stocks like Nvidia. Definitely an area to be cautious in semiconductors here, especially Nvidia. I don't have a particular view on SMCI. It's just freaking crazy. That's all I have to say. RSI is approaching levels where it has found longer term saying selling pressure here before we are on the weekly. So you can see RSI is reaching here, have caused 2-week sell-offs here and just long-term consolidations before. So we could see something like that, and you can see how extended it is from the 5-week. So would you go ahead and short it? No, but it's not an area to be kind of buying in large quantities for SMCI. You can still day trade it if you like, but not my recommendation for sure. But anyways, my job is not to recommend here. You have to do your own due diligence and see what fits your trading style. I can only give you some support levels and possible resistance levels to trade against. Tesla was interesting today. Coming through with a false breakdown and a kind of move up here. You can see what happened. We had that false break, move up, and contested with that AVWAP to the end of the day, which is not able to take it. And we are closing below that AVWAP, but at least above that 180 mark. So one other thing is the call wall moved higher in Tesla today, could show a sign of bullishness. And with that false breakdown, also just take something to keep on watch for a short-term bounce. It has been on a negative streak for a very, very long time. I'm just going to mark in yellow to be cautious for a counter move against the trend here. Even with the market selling off, you can see sometimes Tesla gain some buyers at that point in time. Meta was interesting, false break up and then a kind of breakdown here. It could lead to further weakness coming through in Meta. Trying to think about Visa is also interesting today. It was not able to close above that 5-day, and you can see how it has respected so well this 5-day, other than here where it had to kind of consolidate down to the 20-day. This was 3rd of January, but that just is a point of caution in Visa. Okay, and that is market close. And I think that will also be my close of video. Not much more to report here. DHI, we talked about ITB being a sector which I thought was going to break down, but it seems to be holding in for some more earnings. I think Home Depot has earnings coming up soon. Let's see, LEN. Yeah, there are some earnings that are coming that are they're waiting for. We can see the ones that have reported are on a kind of a breakdown streak. So it is one of the sectors that are rate sensitive and also looking a little bit weaker, but might just be sideways until we can get some more of these earning reports. SITM I thought was interesting because it was able to maintain this bottom channel here, and let's see, 5-day was at 107.35 and closed 107.53. So even on a weaker market day, it was able to take that this thing back. But one negative about it is that it was a day of semis. So on a day that semis were strong, it was only able to, do a little bit, 1.63%, just take that 5-day. And with that 5-day moving down, it could be a possible play before earnings. That's the way I would play it, just to see if we can get some buyers interested before earnings. It is a low volume stock, so it could move pretty fast in price. So kind of brace for that volatility and position for that volatility. This trend line has supported it previously all the way from where the breakdown happened in October 2022. It was the low of the market, and it just has been in kind of a sideways here. So the perfect play would be kind of an entry here and a move, maybe, you know, somewhere here, closing some of these gaps, even a 10-12% move if you can get before the earnings are reported on Tuesday 13th of Feb. That would be good enough. Okay, so that was all. Hope that was helpful, and happy trading, and see you guys tomorrow.